Hello to all, and today I will do a rapid follow-up on the last Philips auction. Almost all lots were sold, and of course most of them performing above estimates thanks to the special talent of Mr. Orbach. But during these same days there was some other important action taking place in Geneva, and I will come back in the next prime time with kind of an analysis of what's currently going on the auction scene. But let's get back on the timepiece which for me represented the highlight of this particular auction, George Daniels' personal piece, the one he never sold, the one that encompasses all of George Daniels' savoir-faire and legacy. Well, this special piece was sold for 2.4 million Swiss francs, not bad. And I have to say that I really appreciated some of the comments some of you guys shared with us, for instance, that this piece really belongs in a museum for everyone to enjoy, and or that part of the sale price should go to some foundation that would promote watchmaking culture or help young watchmakers. I thought this was quite inspiring, but something I appreciate a lot with this Philips Bax and Russo auction is that they took the occasion to put forward independent watchmakers in a parallel exhibition. So on one side you could clearly feel that the value lies with the vintage watches of special significance, but its contemporary counterpart is represented by this independent watchmaking scene. And by independent, I mean more small brands, small volumes, where total watchmaking commitment is at the very core of what these guys are trying to achieve. So Rolex and Patek Philippe are independent, but I hope you see where I draw the difference, and I really don't want to take anything away from these two examples, but there is indeed a difference, and this is precisely what could be witnessed with not only this special show, but also with a very interesting panel discussion regrouping some very, very nice names of this independent scene. So Philippe Dufour, François-Paul Journe, Stephen Forsey, Roger Smith, Max Boesser, and the wife of late Gerald Gentas. Yes, a nice, very nice group of people there on stage. But let's now understand a bit better the particularities of this independent scene with a few interviews of the great watchmakers present there. Some fresh faces, but we'll start with someone that was directly involved with George Daniels, as he had been his apprentice.
So I was a student at a college in Manchester, which is in the northwest of England, and this guy called George Daniels appeared one day to look around our workshops, and it's that chance moment that really changed my life and has shaped my life from that point on. You know, that here's this incredible man who I heard could design and make a watch from start to finish. And upon seeing this great watch, the Space Traveller, which was in his pocket, I just thought, you know, this guy's a genius. And this Millennium series was part of that story. This was, for me, a pivotal moment in my career when George invited me over to the Isle of Man to work with him in his workshop to create this series of watches. And it was, if you like, the finest finishing school for me imaginable to work alongside George Daniels, because prior to that I'd done everything from his book. I just sat there with his book open on the bench and worked through every single page to learn how to make a watch. But to actually sit beside a man like George and to see the hands working and seeing him pick up a tool, suddenly everything clicked into place. In the story of the coaxial, this watch is very, very important because this is built around the very first movements that came off the Omega production line to house George's escapement. And that's all George really wanted. He wanted his escapement to be industrialised because he felt that by having an industrialised escapement would cement his name in history.
I trained as a watchmaker many years ago, and I joined up with my business partner, and about 15 years ago we had this dream to create a watch. We spent a lot of time doing research and development work. We wanted to be independent because it's very difficult, particularly in England, to be able to get third-party people to make the parts for you. So we had no choice. We had to build a workshop, equip it with machinery and the watchmakers, and start from scratch.
To be independent, it's you are free. You know, you can create what you want. And I chose to be watchmaker because I read a lot of book, and I thinking the watchmaking will be like 19th century, and I realized after it was not the reality, and for me the only solution was to create something, an atelier, and work in the way I want.
So I was really enjoying some of the amazing pieces put on display by these independents, not necessarily their latest, but pieces that really meant something for them. And one really funny and interesting story was that a good friend was showing me a very special piece by Urban Jurgensen, developed by the man that was in a certain way in the shadow of George Daniels, the very important and extremely talented Mr. Derek Pratt. This oval pocket watch is simply absolutely stunning, just gorgeous. I mean, look at this impressive flying tourbillon, this huge central bridge. And when my friend proposed me to see it ticking, well, obviously I could only get very excited at this prospect. But it turned out that it was a bit more complicated than just flipping it on. And this is where this gets absolutely brilliant, as some of these great names I was referring to all came to the rescue, and they all tried to make it tick, and it finally did. So how great is this image of these amazing watchmakers getting together and in their own way paying tribute to this amazing timepiece and to Derek Pratt himself. This watch is a one of its kind and belongs to Dr. Helmut Krott, a famous watch scholar and auctioneer who has also been actively involved over the years in the redevelopment of this illustrious name of watchmaking, Urban Jurgensen. Well, I must say that this moment was extremely special, and I was very proud to be in the middle of it. Just one of those magical and privileged moments that I wanted to share with you. Anyhow, let's get back to our interviews.
I think with the size we have, we're doing just 30 watches a year, 35 watches a year, and I think it's important for us to doing what we really want, because if you don't doing this, you are not really independent.
I had to try and do something different, so I decided to create this watch which we have behind us, and that was the start of it, really. And now today we make everything in-house with exception to a few components, so yeah, it's very important. And that's with making just very few pieces a year. We make just 10 pieces a year at the moment.
I start my apprenticeship in Patek, and I learned every base of watchmaking. It was just so interesting, and for me it was big experience. And I working for B&B Concepts still. It was more interesting to how you develop your movement. And after I worked for François Peugeot, and you see different thing. For me, François Peugeot was a dream to go and working for him, and it was really interesting to see how he developed his brand and how he doing his watch, every step of the watch.
That's the great thing about watchmaking, you never stop learning. The industry side is all great, they supply a need for watches, a hunger for watches, but it's the independent side and the craft side of watchmaking which is important to keep going.
Talking about this next generation, how do you feel their appetite for these kind of things?
Oh, incredible. I mean, really, the day and a half spent at the Birmingham City University was just phenomenal, and I've never seen such hunger to learn. And I think, we all talk about this highly sort of modern world with our computers and our phones, and but really I think that's throwing people out. That's throwing people out of the system who want to really learn and use their hands. And that's so encouraging for me.
Well, I sincerely hope you enjoyed this special video report. All the super best to you. Thanks for watching, and a huge Viva Independent Watchmaking to you.